What's going on, guys? This is Martyrs Brigade 99 coming to you once again with another session of Hitman Absolution. Alright guys, as you guys can see from the first part of the video, this is the Run for Your Life stage that is basically made up of about 5 segments. The segments are the Burning Hotel, the Library, the Pigeon Co-op, the Sangri or Sangri-la, and the train station. Now, as you guys can see for yourself, this particular part 1 of the Run for Your Life has a lot of challenges, right? You guys see the suit only, infiltrator, evidence collector, picking on the new guy, death from above. I mean, it really has a lot of challenges, and because it has a lot of challenges, this particular part 1 can be difficult to complete, right, to the extent that you're trying to satisfy all of the objectives within each challenge category. But we're going to try our best to satisfy as many of them as we can. Now, there are a few, right, that at least up to this point I haven't been able to satisfy, but I'm pretty sure that perhaps with the help of some of you guys, or maybe later on as I play some of these stages a little more, I will be able to satisfy them. Alright, so this is basically the opening scene of the Burning Hotel, as you guys can see. So this is basically the part right after this continues from the Terminus Hotel. Right, I enter inside and basically I get pieced up. Right, the target kind of pieces me up, and after piecing me up, you know, he basically tried to frames me. Right, he tried to frame me, but I mean, he didn't really want to stop there. In addition to that, he tried to burn me down. Right, but luckily I woke up at the right moment, and here we go. I'm trying to escape. Now there are 3 officers up here. Now I don't know how many officers are up here on some of the more difficult difficulty stages, but at least on normal there are only 3. Right, so that was basically it of the Burning Hotel. Right, short and simple. Right, so there's really nothing going on right there but a very brief cutscene. Alright, so we're just breaking through. Yada yada yada. Nothing's going on right here.
Everything clear.
Alright, and we land in the library. Now, there's a lot of things going on in the library. Right? To the extent that you guys are kind of familiar with this stage, you know, the lights are on and off, there are cops everywhere, you know, I don't want to be seen, you have evidence to collect, there's weapons to get, there's objectives to satisfy. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. Now, when I first played the stage, the left access point seemed to be the easiest, right? But to the extent that you want to satisfy some of these challenges, namely the collection of evidence, it seems to me that the right access point is better than the left. Now, granted, some of you guys may know a better route to take, some of you guys may have different tactics, but obviously I am just reviewing my own tactic, and perhaps, you know, maybe some of you guys can kind of check it out, make some adjustments to your own, or offer some suggestions to whatever it is that I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this guy up with the power cord. Right? And actually I am going to just kind of drag him behind this kind of bend, because actually there is another officer that will come up top, and hopefully I will be able to intercept, subdue, and take care of him before he discovers that body. Now, that's one of those checkpoints, but, you know, I don't really need checkpoints, even though this is not the hard, expert, or purist difficulty level. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of this guy, tighten him up another guy with the same power cord, dump his body. Alright, now if you guys notice, there is a lever right there, but I'm going to go ahead and pick up the statue. I'm going to turn the radio on because if you guys can see in the center area, there is the sergeant and an officer. And right over in that command post area is the evidence, and there is a weapon. So what I need to do is distract these guys, right? So I'm going to go ahead, obviously, turn on the radio. And before the officer turns off the radio, I need to subdue him. Before. Now, why would I suggest before? The reason why I'm going to suggest before is after I take care of this first officer, the sergeant is going to get annoyed and he's going to try to come over and turn off the radio. Now, if I were to let him turn the radio off, right, if I were to let him turn the radio off, then he would go back, thus making the collection of evidence all the more difficult. Right, so I just took care of the sergeant. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump him down in the lower area. Come on, dude. Let's go ahead and drag him along. Actually, what's kind of okay? Come on, dude. Let's go ahead. All right. So I went on ahead and dumped his body. And even though I get the deduction for basically just knocking off people that are not a part of the target list, who cares? Because my first and foremost priority is the completion of challenges and objectives, right? Not just beating the stage, not just getting Silent Assassin. Now, getting Silent Assassin is groovy, but I want to complete the challenges. That makes the game all the more difficult in my opinion. Now, you guys just notice I just picked up the evidence. So we're good to go with regard to the library up to this point. So we're going to go back up to the upper levels. And we're going to try to intercept that second officer that patrols the higher levels of the right side of the library. Alright, we're going to hang a quick left. We're going to go ahead and trace the wall, and he will proceed up within a few seconds. Right? So instead of taking the risk, taking the chance of, kind of standing in the doorway and attacking him there, and thus having him spot us, for which we do not want to be spotted, right? We're going to just go ahead, hide in the closet, and then subdue him from there. Now, we can go ahead and tighten him up because I think there are only 2 officers that patrol the upper level of the right side of the library. Right? And as many times as I've played this particular stage, I'm pretty confident that there are only 2. Right? So I'm not really all that pressed about hiding his body. Alright, so there's an officer there, and then we're good because his back is toward us. So we're going to go ahead and jump through this hole. Alright, and proceed forward. Now, there is actually an officer that patrols this area, but luckily, he's walking down the aisleway and his back is toward us, so we can go ahead and sneak past him and raise ourselves to the upper levels of the library. Now, I've kind of played this stage several times, and in some cases there's 2 officers. I'm not really sure why there's only 1 right now, but the fact that there is 1, makes it a little easier for us. But in the event that you are on normal like me and you run across this part and there's 2 officers, just take your time, wait till they patrol down on the other side of the library and sneak your way in. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and sneak our way up the stairs. And that's basically it with regard to the library. Now, there are several challenges. Okay, one is basically, I think it's like keep quiet or something like that, where you basically subdue a number of officers. Now, you can run the risk of doing that, and actually I did it before. I just didn't want to do it on this particular, on this time around, because I just wanted to go around unnoticed. I didn't want to run the risk, and I wanted everything to look smooth. Alright, so we're breaking out of the back door of the library, and we're going to descend down into the lower level. Right, and this is considered the Pigeon coop. Alright, so here's a very short cutscene that'll be coming up real soon. But I mean, I guess the popos caught wind of us, so basically they have the observation helicopter. You guys can see for yourself and tell from the wreckage. Now, if any of you guys have any experience, you guys would know that those propellers from a helicopter are very strong. When I was in the military, I used to jump out of airplanes, and actually not only airplanes, but also CH-47s and other type of, actually Black Hawks too. Black Hawk helicopters. Those propellers are really strong, right? So they did not exaggerate on that cutscene. Alright, so here's an officer right here, but guess what, guys? We do not need to attack him. So we're just going to go ahead, scale that ledge, and proceed over to the left direction. Now, you probably can go the other way. I've never tried it. That was just the first and only access point I ever attempted. So we're going to go ahead and whiz past them. We're going to listen to these guys have a very short dialogue. They're not really talking about anything. They're just basically asking, you know, who am I, why am I important, and, you know, that I'm some type of, you know, ex-military nutcase, basically, that suffers from what they call PTSD. Right? Alright. Actually, is it PTSD? Something about some post-traumatic stress. You know, in these big countries, they have some kind of disorder for everything, right? Which is basically a justification for putting you on meds. But, I mean, I'll kind of lay off those type of subjects because we're dealing with video games. Alright, so I'm going to pick up the vase, and actually that R1, if you were to press R1 right there, it would basically offer a suggestion for you to seek another route. But guess what, guys? I really don't know why they do that. Because based upon my experience up to this point, the most crowded areas, the most risky areas, usually contain evidence or some other significant pieces of equipment. But I mean, just for the purpose of this particular video, I'm not going to go straight to the evidence. I'll go the long way, right? But actually, the evidence is right forward and to your right through that curtain and on that ledge. But actually, if you pick up this bong right here, you will satisfy a challenge for bong. Now, there's another challenge for bong hit. I don't even know what bong hit is. I mean, so maybe after I play it a couple more times or get some high-speed suggestions from some of you guys, I'll figure out exactly how to satisfy the bong hit challenge. Alright, so this will be another challenge to satisfy, to basically just get past all the weed plants without being spotted. Right, so we just go ahead and breeze by these fat boy cops. And actually, if you look right over there near those candles, there will be a second bong. And it's right there, right? But I'm not really sure on what the bong hit is. Alright, so if I would have came just a little earlier, there would have been a sergeant and one officer standing right there having a short dialogue. I basically would have just waited until they left, and I would have proceeded on. Now, if you guys see for yourself, there's the bong hit challenge, for which I have yet to satisfy. Alright, so let's go ahead and proceed on. So on the left, if you guys will see kind of like a neon green colored illumination light, that would be a health regeneration, but we don't need it because we're doing a good job at not being seen. Right now, actually, okay, now there's a vent up here, obviously. Okay, and the vent is basically just going to take us past the point where an officer is talking to some residents. So we're going to go ahead and grab this notebook. Alright, we're going to go ahead and exit through the door. And there are two challenges. Right, one is turning on the radio, and another challenge has something to do with tempting the police. Right, but as I said before, there's a cop right there talking to a resident. So we're going to go ahead and draw his attention so we can turn on the music. Right, so we're going to go ahead and draw his attention over to the noise. Go ahead and investigate. We'll go ahead and tighten this guy up real quick and subdue him. Alright, and he's good to go. And actually, we don't need to disguise ourselves, right? Because we are going for the suit only challenge. Now, I can't really remember if I complete the suit only challenge in the last level, but at least I did on the first 3 parts of Run for Your Life stage. Alright, here's the evidence. See, I had to do all of that when I basically could have just walked right past those 2 ridiculous cops and picked it up at the very beginning. Alright, so there is a resident right there. So basically, he's not a threat. We're just going to go right on inside. And I thought he was going to say something, and I actually got lucky right here, and he didn't say anything. Well, actually, I can't say he didn't say anything. I'll just say we didn't draw any suspicion by just walking past him. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and insert whatever it was we inserted. And we're going to turn on the music. Right? And if you did not satisfy that challenge previously, turning on the... Oh, there we go. Turning on the stereo, guys. It's another challenge we just satisfied. Alright, now if you were to go into that bathing room, or whatever type of room it is, there's a cop in there. Right? But we're going to go ahead and just whisk by him. He's not really a threat. We don't really need to encounter him. And there's really nothing important, at least that I've come across up to this point, that we really need to go in there. Now, here's the part where we're going to satisfy the police challenge. Now, do you guys see that safe over there? You know, kind of with the hippie flowers on there. We're going to go ahead and open the safe. And inside there will be a bomb and detonator. Right? A bomb and detonator. So we're going to go ahead and activate the bomb. Turn the radio on so that we can draw the cops' attention. Now, don't get too trigger happy, guys, because after the cop turn off the radio, he's going to notice that the safe is open. Once he notices that the safe is open, he's going to call over to his homeboys, for which there are 3 in the hallway. Now, if you do not draw their attention, right, by satisfying this challenge, you will basically have to gun blaze your way past these 3 officers. And actually, I can't remember if it's 3 or 4, but I do know that it is at least 3 in that hallway. Right, so this is one of those challenges that, I mean, unless you just want to go in guns blazing, you might want to satisfy. Now, if you notice, he just called the attention of all of these ridiculous cops. So at this point, we still have the detonator in our hand. We're just going to open the door, walk by them, and fire off the detonator. Right, 4 victims. Now we're going to just call up the elevator, and we're good to go. Good to go, and that is the Sangri or Shangri-La stage. Now, this will be the last stage in the Run for Your Life level. Now, like I said, if there's any challenges that I failed to satisfy, you know, I'll kind of go over it again in any future videos. Right, especially if it's one of those more difficult or significant challenges. Alright, so let's go ahead and do the train station. Now, one of the objectives is, another chameleon challenge where donning a SWAT team's uniform will help you to satisfy one of the objectives in the chameleon challenge. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is subdue this guy. Right, and actually what I did was I tried to make some noise in there, and I thought I would have gotten the SWAT team's attention, but I didn't. So, I mean, I basically could have left him alone, but I mean, what the hey? You know, we don't need that guy around. So I'm going to go ahead and subdue ridiculous cops A and B. Bring him back in the room. I'm going to go ahead and stow his body. Obviously. And we're good to go. Alright, so let's go ahead and stow this guy's body as well. And we're good to go again. Now, there's the SWAT team. Now, there's two ways that you can get one of the SWAT guys' uniform. Now, you can raise commotion, right? But, then you have to run into a crowd and do all that other nonsense. Or, you can grab this metal pipe right here, wait for them to go into the entryway of the elevator, and throw the metal pipe, thus getting the attention of the last SWAT team member. Alright, so we need to draw the attention of the caboose, right, which is the last SWAT team member. And we went on ahead and did that, making that metal to metal, actually not metal to metal, but ground to metal contact with the metal pipe. And here he comes. Alright, and luckily for us is only one of them. So let's go ahead and subdue this guy, and unfortunately for us, that container is full, right? So we won't be able to stow him away. But I mean, that's not really a problem, because I think it's only that one guy that patrols this area. Alright, so we just unlocked a new disguise, the SWAT team. If you guys notice, I got the 2 for 2 for the chameleon challenge. So we're good to go on that. Alright, now keep in mind that even though I have on my SWAT team uniform, law enforcement is law enforcement. So even though these are regular cops and I am a SWAT team member, a cop is still a cop, right? So you can't just go walking by cops and thinking you will not draw suspicion to yourself, because you will. So keep that in mind when you're going through this particular stage. Now, we need to make our way over to the command center. Right, but there are cops there and they're looking for us. Right, so we're just going to keep that in mind. Now, in the event there's a cop near you, you can kind of, act like you're playing on that little game right there until they walk by, and you can proceed on. But luckily, we didn't have any cops coming our way. Right, so this is basically the transit area A. We need to get over to transit area B. Right, so this is how you can do it. Now, I don't know if there's more than one way to do this. Like I said before, I don't buy guides. I don't read walkthroughs on the internet, and I don't watch videos, basically because I'm trying to get the most out of this game, which is good. Alright, so I'm going to go to the upper level. So I'm going to go ahead and activate this control panel. And I'm going to go ahead and squeeze by this guy. And we didn't get noticed. So we're good to go. Now, if you guys notice, there's a ridiculous cop right there with his high-speed flashlight. So we're just going to stand there, wait till he goes in the other direction, and we're going to try to walk by him. Now, should he turn right around, we're just going to go ahead, press R1, and hopefully we'll be able to squeeze right by him. Alright, so we're good to go right there. Now, this last part is pretty much self-explanatory, guys. Basically, we're waiting for the arrival of the train. And what's going to happen is you're going to get a message that's going to say something like the train will arrive in 1 minute or something like that. So, there are several cops in this area, right? And we have to make sure that we do not draw any of their attention within the 1 minute. And you're going to get several warnings. I think it's going to be like a 45-second warning, a 30-second warning, a 15-second warning, and then there'll be the arrival of the train. So that's about it for the Run for Your Life stage, guys. So, once you get on the train, you'll proceed on to the next level. Well, alright guys, that'll pretty much do it for the Run for Your Life Part 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the next video in the Hitman Absolution series. Martyrs Brigade is out.
got an inbound train down on platform